So I'm going to start applying Cove Strip, and this is a plastic strip with a little angled edge on the top that you finish up to, and then on the back there's a self-adhesive strip. So you just peel it and stick it. So I'm going to get set up to go around the perimeter, and I'm going to start putting this on. Now, what I always do is, in this case here, we're doing a 4-inch cove. So I have my 4-inch cove trowel, and I set my 4-inch cove trowel up on edge so I know how high the strip is going to be. I peel the back a little bit. I set it right on top, because there's a lip on there, right on top of the cove trowel, and you simply peel the back and slide down the cove and glue it to the wall. It's actually a very fast process. I could probably do, I'm going to say 100 feet in like 20 minutes with this, if that. So you see I'm using the trowel, and you just pull the tape as you go and work your way right around the whole perimeter. I'm going to mix up the first batch of the CFS Cove. Now the way this comes, it comes in a bucket. The sand is in the bucket, and then there's a part A and B of epoxy that you mix with it. So you always mix the epoxy first without the sand in a bucket, so the epoxy is mixed properly, and then you add the sand to the mixed epoxy to make your mix. This is all pre-proportioned. What's great about it is you don't have to mix any or measure anything. It's all pre-proportioned. Mix A and B together, throw the sand in, it's a perfect mix. You trowel it on the wall. So now I'm going to use a regular mixing paddle to mix the epoxy. And then after I mix the epoxy, we'll add the sand, and I'm going to use a larger paddle to mix the mortar. Now I'm going to dump the sand into that mixed epoxy. And this sand, it's fine sand and a little coarser sand. It's a mixture of sand, so it sticks to the wall really good. Just pour that right in the epoxy. Now I'm going to use the larger paddle mixer. It's actually a Milwaukee whole hog drill to mix the sand into the epoxy, just because it does take quite a bit more power to mix that up, and you got to hold the bucket so it doesn't spin on you. That's why I have my feet wedged on either side of it. So you mix that up, make sure you get the edges really good also, otherwise you'll have a dry patch on the bottom. Just mix it up thoroughly, and then you're good. Okay, so when applying the Cove mortar, you take a margin trowel, you drop it on the floor, just little dollops along the way there. You take the margin trowel and you kind of force it into the surface. Doing this on a vertical surface, it's not like super easy. You got to kind of work it on there a little bit. So you see I push it on with the margin trowel, and then after I kind of get it set, I take the Cove trowel and just go back and forth with the Cove trowel. And it takes a little time till you get the feel of the pressure you need to like make this look good. And then any excess material you just kind of scrape off and push down to the next section. What's nice about this Cove strip is that top edge on the Cove strip, after this sets the next day, you can just take a 5-in-1 scraper and just slide it right down the edge, and it chips off all those little sharp edges that hang onto the top of the Cove strip. So it makes a real nice clean edge. So now at this point, Jeff comes in with me, and he just gets ahead of me with a margin trowel, and he starts placing the material in there for me, and then I throw it up on the wall. It just kind of makes it quicker for me having the material staged out ahead of me. So I think the first day we did about 190 feet of Cove strip, and on the second day I want to say it was about 170 feet. It took us about 2.5 or 3 hours each day just to do the cove around the perimeter. Allow the system to cure 24 hours, and you can apply our epoxy flooring systems on it the next day.